There's probably about 4 million pounds of potatoes right there. Good morning, everybody. Welcome out to another beautiful day on the potato farm. This morning, it is raining. As you can see, these clouds behind me, they were putting down some rain. It finally stopped just now. It was raining 5 minutes ago. So I came out to the field because this pivot's in the way, for one. They're gonna be digging these potatoes, and it kind of, this is where the trucks will drive, and this kind of hangs way over there. So I got to move this pivot out of the way while they're over there working on a section over there. So when they get done with that section and they come to this one, the trucks can get by. But it looks like they're finally starting to dig, because we don't want to dig it. This is sand, so the rain actually makes it better to dig because the trucks won't get stuck. So I won't have to pull any trucks in here because well, first we watered it. We watered this around yesterday just a little bit, and then it rained. So this is plenty wet. The soil, this is all sand, and it is nice and wet. So we should not have any trucks getting stuck. The sand with the wet will help support them really well. But it looks like they're just getting going. This pivot is moving. I got to get it moved out of the way. It should get out of the way in time. It's going to be probably a couple hours before they're done. But let's go drive over there and see how it's going. He's just getting ready to start digging another pass. One truck just got loaded right here and loading up another one. Yeah, this sand being wet is perfect. Now the potatoes that grow in the sand are really, really nice. Except for right here, they're tiny because this spot didn't get watered. But when we get out here another 100 feet, they're gonna be really nice looking potatoes. There we go, now we're into the nice potatoes. Because the sand is really soft, it's easy for the potatoes to grow in it, so they can grow to the size they want to grow to with the ideal shape and everything. There's nothing to make them look weird. They just look really nice. Looks like we have a pretty good yield. There are quite a few small ones, at least right here, but hopefully the further in we go, the better they'll get. It's crazy how much dirt falls off the bottom of this thing. Now these are pushing, they're pushing about a foot of dirt. That's how deep those points go into the ground. It's about a foot. So that's another reason we have to water it, because if it wasn't watered, it'd be really hard for the points to go into the ground. Like you can even see his coulter's having a hard time turning right now. That's just because of the wet. But still digging the potatoes, still doing a good job. Yeah, these are good looking taters. There are a few small ones like this little guy. That'll get sorted out. Honestly, it'll probably fall through on the sizing table on the harvester. fan blows all the stuff out the back really well. Looks like this field's going pretty good though. I gotta go back and get going on what I got to do today. Unfortunately, because of all this rain we got, the hay is way too wet for me to cut any more hay. We don't want to cut it when it's wet, so it's going to take probably a day or a couple days to dry out. So I will be chisel plowing today and working at the cellar and anything else anybody needs me to do. If I need to pull trucks, I got to do a little bit of everything. So let's get going. Well, that rain has kind of made this a little bit of a muddy mess over here because this isn't sand, so it just gets muddy. But let's go see how the potatoes look this morning. Well, in here we have our massive pile of eliminators. Looks like Brady might have had a problem here. Looks like he overloaded just a little bit. But we ended up, we have a lot more small potatoes than we were expecting. So the eliminators there's more of them than we thought there was going to be. So half this cellar is filled about to this rib right here. And then the front half we're like, oh, we're not gonna have enough room for all these eliminators. So we started piling them as high as we can pile them. These are not going to fresh, so we can pile them higher. The one problem you have with eliminators, which is why you don't like to pile them high, is because they're so small that they pack together really tight and fills up all the little air gaps. So it's hard to get air to move through the pile. So hopefully we don't end up regretting this. Right now we currently do not have a place to send these. So as it currently sits, these will just be spread as fertilizer, which is not ideal. We would like to get these sent off to a processor, make potato flake or something out of them, and not just spread them as fertilizer. They have $3 of fertilizer value per sack, and a sack is 100 pounds. There was somebody asked a question about that the other day. So one sack is 100 pounds of potatoes. So for every 100 pounds of those eliminators, we have $3 worth of fertilizer value. So if we can't get $3 out of them from a processor, then they're just gonna be fertilizer. Got trucks backing up to the even flow bin. Everything's been running pretty well. We've only had a few electrical hiccups, but for the most part, it's all running. We've had to stop a couple of times to try and fix some electrical stuff, but it is running now. Now that we're at our home cellars, all the electrical should be the same. It just seems to be when we switch from somebody else's cellars that we're renting to these cellars, everything's off. But everything's wired the right way right now, so we shouldn't have any issues the rest of harvest because all the rest of our cellars are right here. Potatoes are looking good. We got to get these out. But the potatoes are looking real nice. Now with the sand, one thing we see is a lot more green ends. So like this potato is a good potato, and if you cut that end off, the rest of it's good to eat. You don't want to eat the green end though. But because it has a green end, they don't want that. They'll end up picking this out at the plant and kicking it to the side, so we just got to truck that one. And there's a lot of the green ends in this field because of the sand. It's like the sand blows off and makes the rows more flat, kind of reveals some of the potatoes. So on sandy fields, you tend to get a little bit more green ends, but hopefully we don't have too much of an issue. A lot of them don't. You might have one out of every 50 or 60 potatoes has a green end, so not too terrible. That's a big dirt clod. Hey, that one's got something growing out of it. This all seems to be working pretty well. See our little pile of dirt going out to the dump truck over there. So these guys are picking rocks off of the eliminator piler, and that's a lot of rocks that they've picked. We've only been here for like a day and a half, and they already have quite a amount. These potatoes look good though. I'll show you the eliminators. You can see how many are coming out. That's how many eliminators we're getting out of this field. There are quite a few small ones out there. Here's our mountain of fresh potatoes. These ones are looking really good. By the time they get to this point, they should be really, really clean. Going past the sorter table and the sizer, that should get out a lot of the trash. And these should be pretty much perfectly clean. No rocks, no dirt clods, no rotten potatoes, no vines. Just maybe a few that have gotten by, but for the most part, nothing. Our mountain of potatoes looks awesome. So this cellar, when it's clear full, will have 10 million pounds of potatoes in it. Wow, look at that one. That's a big one. That'll feed 2 or 3 people probably. Some nice looking taters. Well, now that we've seen the cellar and how it's doing, I got to go out and start chisel plowing. I've got a lot of ground to cover, about 2,000 acres worth. It is always fun to come stand right here because we have hopper conveyors. You can see like the waterfall here and then the one there and there. You can just see them all the way out, just cascading down. Got here, but this field is finished, so I need to move to the next field, so I gotta fold this thing up so we can get moving down the road. Alright, I just moved to the next field. I can fold this down now. So this field has a whole bunch of wheel lines in it. There's one here, there's one over there, there's one you can barely see on the other side, there's also one on the other side of this house, and then there's a bunch of hand lines and a pivot. So this field's got a lot, but it's also a very small field. So there's a lot going on in this little tiny piece. So I'm trying to decide the best way to do this. I think I'm going to unhook this wheel line because it's still hooked up. I'm gonna roll it over this way, chisel plow, then roll it onto that. Then I can do this part. And I think I'm just gonna have to do it in sections and then move the wheel lines and then keep going. That's the only way that I can see to get this all worked up and everything out of the way. So we're gonna get moving some stuff and see what we can get done. All right, we'll get this one out of the way. This here, man, I keep saying this, chisel plow here, and then move it back. There we go. Now we can move it back. And back she goes to be parked for the winter. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to come in here and say that Yankum Ropes is giving away a pretty awesome International Scout. It's a 1972. It is sweet. And for every $1 that you spend on Yankum Ropes website, you'll be entered in to win. And I think right now they're doing multiple points per $1. So go over to Yankum Ropes, use the link down below to get yourself some Yankum merch and enter to win that International. I've done it. I have almost finished this field. There's this pass, I have the end here where the pivot was sitting right there, and then the end on this side. So the end is in sight. And then I have to go get the e-bike and ride it back over here because there's nobody available to come get me. But I have a different way that I think I can attach it to this thing to make it a little easier than putting it up here. So we're almost done. I had to move 5 wheel lines and a pivot, but I got it all worked up. So I'm gonna finish up the ends and then go get the bike. Whew, I made it. Bike's right here, and I had a thought. That bar's pretty high. I think I could just strap it up to that bar. It'd be a lot easier than putting it on the little railing of the tractor. So I'm gonna try and get this thing hooked up so I can go to the next field. Well, I think that'll work. It's just kind of hanging there. But I think that was a lot easier than lifting it clear up on the tractor. But hey, it got me here. And now I can head back, unload this, and fuel up the tractor. Oh, I made it. I have to fuel this thing up. I've only got 4 bars of fuel left. Okay, I'm on my way out to the field now. And that sun, well, when it comes from behind the tree, it makes it really hard to see anything that's coming at me. I have to squint really hard. Luckily, it's almost behind the clouds. This thing does such a good job. And it's so smooth. It's like perfectly smooth. Little crumbler on the back just crumbles everything to pieces, and it's just a nice smooth field after that. I have this field to do, and it doesn't go all the way. It splits, and then there's another field that's over there, but it's like 50 acres. I don't know if I'll get it done tonight, but we will see. All right, guys, well, I got that field almost done. Not quite, but pretty darn close. We just came back to the cellar. They're done unloading trucks, but the bin's full. So I got here just in time to see how full everything is before I end this episode. So let's walk back here and see what they look like, see how full the cellar is. Well, they've moved to a new field now. And they look pretty darn good. This is actually the field that we dug the sandy half when it was wet. This is the other half of that field. So that's where they're at now. And the potatoes look really, really good shape. I don't know what the yield is. I know on that field the yield was looking a little bit low when we were doing all of our test digs earlier in the year. But as far as the size looks great, and this is before it's been sorted too. We will eliminate all the little ones, but even without eliminating all the little ones, we have quite a few that are really good size. These look like good potatoes. Holy smokes. These two guys have just been picking off the eliminator piler. Look at that pile of rocks. It's like 4 feet tall, 15 feet round. That is a ton of rocks right there. That'd be great for a driveway. Somebody wants to put rock in their driveway or something, it'd be perfect. And then after they've been sorted, now all the little ones are gone. So are all the rocks and all the rot, dirt clods. Look good. Now this cellar, I imagine, is probably going to take us 4-ish days to fill, 4 to 5 days, because it holds just as much as the first 2 cellars we filled, and that took us about 4 days to fill, so that's my guess. Well, judging by the looks of it, we are not quite halfway full. Getting close though. I think we'll definitely be half full tomorrow. It's a good looking pile of potatoes, good looking mountain. There's probably about 4 million pounds of potatoes right there. That pile. Once this cellar gets full, I will take you down and do a cellar tour, kind of show you how these cellars run and what it all looks like behind the scenes. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, go down below, hit subscribe, hit like, share with a friend. I'm Big T. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.